because we are all one. He made us as one. He created us one nation under God. So we need to start acting more as, as of his children. Thank you. Sometimes it feels cold and you feel all alone, but hold on, better days are coming. It can be rough in this world. But hang on in there. I know better days are coming. You've seen good, you've seen bad, you've seen happy and sad. But just remember that better days are coming. Friends will leave you all by yourself, but don't you cry, 'cause better days are coming.
Thank you. We're going to move forward with our agenda for tonight. The next person I want to introduce to you is Vivian Mead. She has been a leader from day one, and we appreciate her leadership. She is the leader of Black Lives Matter of DeKalb. I'm going to allow her to come and give you a little bit of our purpose today, and then also introduce some other people that have been participating. Thank you, Vivian.
Hey everyone, thanks for coming out. First off, I know it's really, really hot, but thank you for coming anyways, because this is a very important first step. Again, my name is Vivian Mead. I am the organizer of the first Black Lives Matter protest, and also one of the administrators for the Facebook page. Our purpose basically, and what our message is anti-racism, anti-police brutality, justice, and peace. I'm going to introduce some more protesters that have been out in the streets. One of them is Andre. I want you to come up if you'd like. Everyone give a hand for Andre. And then we have Tiana. Where's Tiana? Hey, come up here. And then we have Brighton. Brighton. We got Brighton. And then Marquita. And I'm gonna pass the mic over to them so they can talk a little bit about themselves.
Hello everyone, my name is Andre Allen Jr. I came to DeKalb when I was 10 years old. I've been here since. I'm 21 now. I got involved, I felt courage to get involved and step up as a leader with a protest thanks to Tiana. And I hope that we can move forward from everything that's going on and that today works out the way it's supposed to be.
Hi, I'm Tiana. I'm 18. I just graduated this year from Kirkland, Hiawatha. I am not really from DeKalb. I'm from a town 20 minutes from here, but I was one of the organizers of the second Black Lives Matter protest in DeKalb. And my goal here is just to say that not a month or two is going to go by and then we're going to forget about it. We're going to keep coming and showing that we care and it's important. So that's my goal and everything.
Hi, my name is Brighton Rimmer. I am 25 years old. I moved out here straight from the military. Got involved with the Black Lives Matter movement because my life matters. Everyone's life matters. Just like Tiana said, 2 months isn't going to be enough. We're going to be out here every day.
Hi, I'm Marquita. I'm 25. Been in DeKalb. Went to DeKalb High School. I started in this because I have a kid, and it's getting to the point where I don't want anybody's kid to have to fear for their life. So I'm gonna be in this until something changes.
Yeah, we're gonna go straight into list of demands, and I think a few people have some speeches. Is Brighton? No speech? Okay, then Brighton, you like to present? Who's presenting? We're gonna have Maurice present the list of demands.
Give me just a moment here. I apologize. I'm attempting to pull them up on my device. Actually, then, in the meantime, I'm going to let Andre share just a little bit of his thoughts, and then we will be sure to get that specific list of demands. And then from that point, what we will be doing is we want to open things up and allow for anybody who is here and has some suggestions to offer to our leadership to allow that to happen. I will say I appreciate the HRC of the city of DeKalb having a meeting just this past, I think that was Monday night or Tuesday night, and there were a lot of good things that came out of that as well.
So one of the list of demands that I had on mind was that I was looking through a document from the city of DeKalb.com, and my demand was that we demand Mayor Jerry Smith, his assistant Ruth Scott, Jason Watson, and Richard Stumford of the fire department to agree to reopen the contract, because in Articles 14 through 16 and 20, it's like the articles are written to make it really hard to fire a bad cop. Like in the articles, only 2 officials appointed by the mayor gets to make a decision on that type of stuff, and I think that's kind of unfair. I feel like when something bad happens with the police, the people should give their opinion on what's happening, because those 2 officials could be siding with the system. So that was one of mine that I came up with.
Get her to slide down. Marquita. Marquita.
Some of our personal demands are that take funds from the police department and put it into the community. It feels like most of the funds that go to police department could be helped to rebuild the economy and help the less fortunate. So we feel that some of the funds should be taken from people, not people, taken from the police department to help build the economy. And also holding the police accountable. I think that's kind of what Andre basically said. We need to hold the police accountable for what they do. We can't just give them a slap on the wrist because a regular person of the society could do something and they don't get a slap on the wrist. So we feel like everybody being human, they should be treated the same.
Another one of our demands were that Officer Luis be fired for his illegal use of a chokehold on a minor. Not only did they use a chokehold, they also tased him while he was unconscious. And then we also want every police officer to go through a de-escalation training. You can't de-escalate a situation without having to pull your weapon. You really don't need to be a cop at that point.
What's wrong? What? What's wrong? I mean, do you just want to know where we go?
Okay, while we're waiting on our post,
Sorry, technical difficulties.
how's everybody doing? Having a good day? It's really hot outside, and I decided to wear this because I got it in the mail today. It's burning up right now.
Apologize for the delay. We are We're experiencing some technical difficulties as we still are, as 5G is struggling to come through right now, but that's okay. What I would like to do at this time is I certainly will be presenting also another list of demands, but again, we want to say thank you to all of the elected officials who are here, and there are more that are coming to join us. At this time, we do want to just take an opportunity and hear more voices from the community who may have some recommendations for, again, the purpose of Black Lives Matter, which is anti-racism and anti-police brutality. I emphasize that again because the police brutality is certainly one part of it, but we have elected officials here that represent more than just policing. And so we want to open it up, and if there are any community members who wanted to come forward and share just an idea with our elected officials, please do so now. You can form a line on either side here, and we'll allow you to come.
I can't access my phone.
All right, so I was reading through the DeKalb police contract the other night, and one of the things I noticed is there's a provision by which after 3 years, an officer can request that the records of their misconduct or excessive force or any other disciplinary action be destroyed. Clearly this is wrong, but the contract has one little piece of language in there that says either the chief of police or the city manager is empowered to say yes or no. So I think one of the things we should be demanding is that our city manager take responsibility for single disciplinary action. He could do that right now.
I apologize. I do want to just emphasize real quick that we are asking for a 2-minute limit, just to make sure that we get to hear as many community voices as possible.
So just briefly, as a community member, sticking to my 2 minutes, I wanted to address each official. It's very important to have you here because you're the decision maker. Okay, this is who decided to show up, you know who's not here. The next most important thing is finding out who can do what and what they're going to do. Not just what you're willing to do, but what you're going to do. That's the next most important point. I'm pretty sure the community is going to bring some things, you know, to your attention that are very important. I've talked myself blue already, calling everybody. So literally, I've said my piece, but the most important thing now is this is where you say in history, I'm either with it or against it. There's no middle ground. There's no way to say you might be or you might not be. This is decision time. Everything else does not matter. You can talk for years, talk forever. It's time to set action plans from today. Leave this meeting with action plans and be able to give the community specific, targetable data as to information as to this is when I expect this to be done. This is when I will have this done. Set some definites.
Alright, so one of the demands we had was a common lease. Alright, so we wanted to implement the common lease. That is something that has been done in Evanston. Since most of the people here are renters, even in DeKalb County, there have been a lot of abuses that have been coming to light lately, and just that have been going on for, you know, ever. So we want to be able to make a way where essentially, if there's just one broad statement of how everyone's going to live, it's easier to meet those demands. A lot of times people don't even know what their lease says because every lease is different, and a lot of times when the people write the leases, they don't even make sense. So that's kind of something we want to avoid, especially when it comes to services needing to be done, regulations when it comes to entering premises without people present, stuff like that. So since people of color are most impacted when it comes to renting, then that's one way that, like, systemically, at least in DeKalb County, we might be able to work on that. Because rent is not affordable for anyone here. Even with people with degrees can't afford to pay the rent here, so yeah, that's something that we definitely need to look into. There is a tenants association, DeKalb Tenants Association, and they are the ones who have been kind of spearheading that idea. But I don't know.
I live right across the street over by 14th, and I would just like some way to have a better, easier time finding. There was right supremacy posters all over by the White Castle and things like that. They sat there for 2 months. I went out yesterday after reporting it to the non-emergency number and scraped it out completely myself. I would like to see things like this taken care of much faster. This was beautiful, because this is gone already. But like, I want to see that everywhere. I don't want to be driving home every day and see white supremacy posters all over the neighborhood. I'm sorry, murders. That's why not.
Hello, I'm relatively new to DeKalb. I got here about a weekend before that attempted lynching of Alante McDowell. The problems in policing here aren't unique. In local governments, putting together budgets, I like to say that infrastructure creates density. If the buses have more bus stops and there's more routes, more people are going to use it. If we spend too large of a portion of the city budget on policing and jails, that's what's going to be the city's relationship to its citizens. That's what's going to be used. That's where more resources are going to have to go. So I think whether it's anything above 25% going towards police from the budget, it's just taking away from housing and transit, education, quality of life expenses that could make DeKalb a great city. And the fact of the matter is, when I have a sign that says defund the police, or people say abolish the police, I mean, that's really a demand that has to be met, because if we just keep our same patterns going, then that's not acceptable for any of the people that are protesting and shutting down traffic here or pretty much across country. I think there's broad consensus on that. So I encourage the budget to change and us to pressure public officials to agree to cut police budgets and put the money where it's going to impact our quality of life the best. And if they don't do that, then find new public officials. Thank you.
I'd just like to point out that it's been almost like 50 years since there's been this kind of like civil unrest in DeKalb. Protesters being present, weeks on end, traffic being blocked. The community is coming together, the community is speaking up about needing real change. That's that we have housing needs in this community, we have hunger needs, education, healthcare. And we had someone who's been on the county board for 13 years at a meeting the other day and didn't know how much the county was spending on community needs, policing and stuff like that. So this is the time for the community to really come together and step up, put our public officials accountable, replace them if they're not going to do the job, to meet the needs, because clearly we're speaking, it's been over 50 years since the time of Vietnam when people were protesting like this in DeKalb. And it's not going to go away.
one thing today, and that's the budget, the one that several people have mentioned. We get around $20 million here, and $9 million of that goes to the police. In my opinion, and I believe in a lot of other people's, when you allocate around 40% of the funds to policing, you're accusing the people that are living with you of being criminals. Because you're telling them, hey, we need all of these weapons to keep the community safe. When in reality, reallocating a lot of those funds to actual programs that help DeKalb, such as education, such as the food deserts in DeKalb, such as public transportation, something that should be a right. Yes, we have a public transportation system here, but it's not going far enough, and it can be revamped. And by allocating $9 million, some of that $9 million to these social programs, we can actually make change. And I really, really want to say to the city leaders that if you do want to stay here, and you do want to continue serving the community, you need to start serving the community and stop serving the police. That's what you have to do. The police are here to help, yes, but they can't do the most. They cannot be the tell-all, end-all. We have to start investing in more social programs if we want to actually make change.
I'm gonna even put my whole government name out there right now. My name's Tony Martin. I've taught students in this community for 5 years. I'm sick of having to explain to them about how this train wreck is allowed to continue. We have firefighters speaking out against BLM, suggesting they shouldn't be provided with life-saving emergency services. No consequences. We have county clerks defending white supremacist hate groups. No consequences. We have a cop still on the force that did what he did. I don't need to repeat it. Y'all know what he did. But he's a good cop. No consequences. Y'all have the audacity to tell us to come up or go to council meetings to wait for change. That's fine, because I know that you think we're going to forget about this in a couple months. But all of you, complicit in white supremacy. All of you. Complicit, remember that.
All right, I'll try to be brief but meaningful. Got just a few demands that we think that need to be enacted. So the first one is it's a zero tolerance policy for excessive force, and that means basically automatic dismissal and made retroactive. And that includes reports from previous employment in the hiring process. The second one, I think we need some teams out there. We need a team of an unarmed social worker or counselor and an armed response officer together, working together. It could be beautiful. You get a call, you got both tools that you need to deal with what's happening, and there's built-in checks and balances between the two. So I think that has legs. And then the third one is, if we're giving extra points in the hiring process to folks with military backgrounds or veterans for police positions, we should discontinue that. I think a military background should be neutral in the hiring process, or if anything, a judge of character. Thank you.
Hello. So I'm actually going to take the perspective of the police on this one. It's my belief that in underserved communities, you have police officers that end up being social workers, marriage counselors, drug addiction counselors, psychologists, psychiatrists, all of that. It's complete bullshit. That's not their job. The only reason it's become their job is because there aren't social programs that are available to these communities. So my only point is that what's going to make me feel safe isn't a drone in the sky from the PD. It's not a new SWAT team. It's not an armored vehicle. It's not more guns on the street. I don't care if they have a badge. More guns on the street isn't going to make me or my children feel safe. But giving people a path to the American dream, giving them the support that they need to follow that path, that'll make me feel safe. Thank you.
Someone told me center stage. Is this center stage? Alright. Hi, my name's Emily. I grew up here. I went to DHS. I got my bachelor's at NIU. I got my master's at NIU. This is my hometown. All of it, the good and the bad. And someone said that covering up what happened to the van shell today was beautiful. I disagree. It's a beautiful analogy for the way that we deal with white supremacism in DeKalb. It's just covered up, but still there. Same thing can be said for taking down stickers, taking down posters. At the end of the day, what are you actually doing to dismantle white supremacy? I think we demand to know that of all our elected officials. Anyway, I'm part of a group, and we have a list of demands. I'm going to read some of them for you. We demand that body cams must be on at all times when interacting with civilian citizens. Current policy, to our understanding, is that officers with body cams are required to turn them on only when a police-civilian interaction becomes criminal. We will not suffer this policy and expect officers in a moment of crisis and stress to always remember to turn on their body camera when an interaction becomes criminal. Furthermore, we demand an online database with photos of patrolmen and other officers, along with their names. So identifying officers is easier in the event that a resident must make a complaint. Because let's face it, most of us are going to have to make a complaint against you. Thank you.
Good afternoon. I'm Dan Stovall, and have property at 205 South Point Court. Live in Sycamore, been in DeKalb County for over 30 years and enjoy the relationship with the communities in the area. And as I looked and saw that we have 65 police officers for a city of this size, I we're missing something somewhere. I grew up in a small community, and we had a far greater ratio of residents, police officers of residents than we have here. It appears that we have a lot of police officers overworked, in my not so humble opinion. But where I grew up, in a little village out in western Nebraska, the police officers knew the names of everyone, and everyone knew the police officer. I noticed that here in DeKalb, as well as other places in DeKalb County, that the officers are not required to live within the community. They can live within a 30-mile radius. Some communities have a 50-mile radius. And I think that to improve community relations, we should look at having police officers live within the community. I think that would greatly inspire other people. And I want to thank the folks sitting here who played such a big role in unifying DeKalb. Because unification and opportunities to grow and become equal come in education and in jobs. And the group here has done an excellent job in bringing opportunities to work in the city of DeKalb. So I want to thank you for that.
Hi, everybody. As part of my job, I do a lot of recruiting for my department. I have lost out on several candidates of color, particularly black candidates, because they don't feel safe coming to DeKalb. So my question to you all is, what are we going to do to change that culture? How are we going to make people feel like they could be included in this town as part of this community and being fully integrated into the DeKalb and Sycamore area? I really value a diverse workforce because I think it's going to bring so many more ideas and so much more economic prosperity to this area. But if I can't recruit that diversity into this area, how are we going to make sure that our departments and our county are moving forward in that direction? So that's my question for you all to continue to ponder. Thank you very much.
Hello, my name is Chanel. I have a question. What happens after you file the police report? Typically.
After you file a police report?
Yes. And then do you hear anything back from them after they investigate? Yes. Okay, well, I filed a couple police reports and then I didn't hear anything back from you all, so that's why I had a question. Also, I don't like the way the police handles people, and it is like, is their word against ours. I went to the court about a situation with my car, and the judge basically told me that they towed my car. If it's police towed, it's $500, and then you do a appeal, and then they drop it down to $250. But the appeal doesn't happen for a month. And if your car is sitting in a towing place for a month, that's about $2,100. And if I didn't have the $500, what makes you think I have $2,100 to get my car at the pound? So that was a situation for me. I also was misdealt by the police. I'm not sure of the young man's name, but he pulled me out of the car like it was nothing, like I was no one, like I was just discarded. So and it was two other officers around me, and there was no one outside. So of course I felt scared. Of course I felt nervous. I didn't know what was gonna happen. I'm unsure, and I feel like that shouldn't happen when you're getting pulled over by the police, but I'm pretty sure that happens with every black person getting pulled over by the police. The nervousness, the shaking, the frustration, the instant guilt, like, oh, you're guilty instantly, and they don't even give you a chance. So yes, I just wanted to bring those two situations up. The towing of the car, why does it cost so much? And the police mishandling people, unless they really shouldn't have no reason to do that if the person is complying, because I do comply. And that's all I wanted to say.
Hello, I'm Allison Garcia. I am also with Brighton's group with the leaders of the Black Lives Matter protests with Marquita. So I'm just jumping off of what she was stating earlier, mainly, and adding on some more. So she was talking about how we want to have Officer Weiss fired for his use of excessive force. We also want to go above that and demand that any report of chokeholds or any other excessive force used by an officer be met with termination, appropriate disciplinary action, and they not be hired back onto the police force. We are also heavily looking into de-escalation programming and looking at how that will work. We demand that current and future police officers must complete crisis intervention training. We are aware that there's already monetary, community, and departmental support for increasing the amount of crisis intervention trained DeKalb police officers. So in order to achieve this goal of more crisis intervention trained officers, we demand that more of those funds be put toward the CIT programs. We also demand the decriminalization of mental illness and homelessness. We have plenty of resources over at the police department. We are all well aware of this. We would like to move some of those to help the homeless services in DeKalb, such as Hope Haven or the DeKalb Community Mental Health Board, to help those marginalized with mental health issues as well. Thank you.
Hello, I'm Shrestha Singh. I'm a chaplain and hold on, my mask is falling down. All right, I'm a chaplain and a social worker in training. Oh, sorry.
Come to the middle. Go to the middle.
Was the cash bail system, which is a system that disproportionately affects communities of color, but that we haven't really talked about as a city. Our county sheriff has publicly come out saying that he's not going to consider an end to the cash bail system, saying that it would put violent criminals out on the streets. And our police officer department has supported that statement. But what the cash bail system does is it penalizes low-income communities of color who often get arrested due to racial profiling. And then these folks end up sitting in jail, not being able to afford bail. And then you're literally sitting in jail without actually being charged with anything. And so you're just sitting there indefinitely. And what that does is it destabilizes families by making it so that you might lose custody of your kids, you might lose your job, and that destabilization is what leads to crime, not having a bail system. And we also just spent $3 million on creating an expanded DeKalb County jail due to overcrowding. And where overcrowding comes from is from people sitting in jail without being able to afford bail. So I want to ask our officials, our police department, to apply pressure on our state, on our city, on our county, on our sheriff to get rid of a system that unfairly penalizes low-income people of color, and also that has been proven to just not work. Thank you.
Hello, my name is Elena Swafford, and I just thought I'd come up here to talk about why we need more social services and more funding there. The National Domestic Abuse Hotline did a survey through women about their experiences with police and if they would call them again when they needed help. 1 in 4 women reported that they would not call the police in the future. More than half said that calling the police would make things worse, and 2/3 or more said that they were afraid that the police would not believe them or do anything to help them. So this is definitely why we need more social services
I would just have somebody go along that edge and just ask them, because
Hi everyone. Wow.
Yeah, like right now it just looks like it's for
Hi, my name is Andrea. I'm a undergrad student at NIU. This past fall, my apartment was broken into, and unfortunately I had to call the police because there was blood everywhere, and someone was injured. They were trying to break into my next door neighbor's place, and they were a black couple that were also undergrads at NIU, the same age as me. Everything was the same. They weren't home. The police came. 3 officers. They treated me with what I thought was complete respect, very kindly. But the second that my next door neighbors showed up, the tone completely changed. It was horrifying
to see. You know, like I had heard that there were racial discriminations in the police force, but I had never heard it and seen it with my own eyes before. And I'm sure there are a lot of white folk out there that also haven't seen or heard it before, and it's horrifying. I had to stand by the door and text my next door neighbors and tell them that I was going to be there and make sure that nothing happened to them, and they were terrified. There is no difference between us. We're the same age, both undergrads in the same program. This shouldn't have happened. And I really want to ask the officers and the people and representatives that are here to really think about the implicit biases that you have and if you're acting upon them. Because there's no law that can keep you from being racist. Yes, we can try and enact things that make it happen less, but you really have to look internally and think, am I acting upon the biases that society has put on me? You know, I think this is really something we have to think about. And for all the white people that are out there, if you see things like this happen, please don't walk away, because I don't know what would have happened if I wasn't there. You know, maybe nothing would have happened, but you truly don't know. So please just stick up for our Black brothers and sisters out there. That's all I have to say.
I've been asked to tell you that there's water here if you're really thirsty. And my name is Yelmir, and I just wanted to say everybody knows that racial profiling is systemic. So how about before we hire any police officers, that they go through some training where they just do a role play and then everybody changes colors, okay? So that you know what it's like when you are being told to put your hands up, and for what? So just a better education for the cops. The training could be a little bit longer. In other countries, training for police officers is much more thorough than here. Additionally, no one speaks about the police union. There are so many people. First of all, I want to believe that most cops are good, and I know some are phenomenal. That's not the case here. But if I were a police officer, I would be pissed off at how all these bad cops are besmirching my profession. So, you know, then if there are complaints, what happens? Police union, you have a union rep and a lawyer, and nothing happens. So something there has to be looked at. Look at our union person in Chicago. He has 16 disciplinary actions against him, and yet he's still the head of the union. Is there a problem there? So there's, and it is long overdue, because it's hard on the police, it's hard on the community. Taxpayer dollars are just being thrown away, and all we need is good people.
Good evening, everyone. I'll be loud. My name is Travita. I have been in DeKalb since '92, came here to go to NIU. I've been a teacher, a principal. It's currently what I do now. So I'm a lifelong learner, but you didn't come here to hear about me. But I wanted to come in here and talk about, we really need to rock the vote. We really need to go out and vote in large numbers. So these are elected officials, and we can vote them out. If they, shame on them for doing what they're posting and what they're saying, shame on them. These are all elected officials. We can vote them out of office, and that's what needs to happen at this point. I have a son who is turning 18 years old, and I fear for him driving in DeKalb at night. because of DeKalb Police. I've had several negative interactions, and I have 3 degrees. So I'm not just anybody who's sitting around lazy, not doing what they're supposed to be doing, breaking the law. Have had several negative interactions and have been treated like garbage by DeKalb Police. So we need to think about that. I am fearful of my son. And the last time I said this, at the last town hall meeting, the Daily Chronicle took it and I was pretty much attacked. But I stand behind what I say. I say what I say and I mean what I say. We need to change some things here in DeKalb. We can all get touchy-feely right now. We feel a certain way, but it doesn't stop after this. We need to rock the vote. We need to go out in large numbers and get these officials out of office because it can be done.
Hello. My name is Kimberly Wright. Wrote a few notes so I don't forget. There's several things that I'd like to talk about. Incidences that's taken place since I've moved here. I came in 2012, June of 2012 for housing. Unfortunately was homeless before I came to DeKalb, so I did struggle with housing, moved around a little bit. And since I've been here, I've had some incidences, not the best, unfortunately, but I do know some awesome people that are out here, so I'm glad that despite the experiences, I've met some really great people. One of the incidences I want to talk about took place in 2018, the summer of 2018 during Pride Week. I just so happened to be going to an appointment in Sycamore. I was on public transportation. I dropped my bike off on campus, and I carry an umbrella with me throughout the summer because I get a rash from the sun. The sun burns me extremely badly. So I use an umbrella if I don't have sunscreen. I get on the bus right at the corner of, I think of the corner, it's over by the student center. Not quite by the student center, but I got on the bus. And as soon as I got on the first stop, there was a fire chief that stopped the bus and asked me to get off the bus. And I was kind of taken aback because I'm thinking, well, why am I being stopped? And I didn't get off the bus because I was on my way somewhere extremely important and I needed to get there ASAP. And with public transportation, some of you guys may know that it's very slow. But anyways, the fire chief said, I need to talk to you, I need you to step off. And I said, sir, I'm on my way somewhere, I can't get off. I left my umbrella, I left my bag and my purse sitting on my seat. He said, well, we got a call that you're carrying a rifle. And I said, excuse me? He's like, yeah, we got a call that you were carrying a rifle. We need you to get off the bus. I need to talk to you. So I'm like, sir, unfortunately, I can't get off. I'm on my way somewhere. I'm on my way to Sycamore. I have to be at Walmart to catch the next bus. Ended up, he decided to let me go. If I indeed had a rifle, I should have been surrounded by multiple rifles because one rifle can't beat another. You're gonna need multiple rifles. So somebody called in and said that my rainbow umbrella that I was carrying, that I had opened for a moment during Pride Week, was indeed a rainbow, a rifle, which was a rainbow umbrella. And it took me some time to think about it, and I shared my story with a few people. So we came to the conclusion that what the police thought, who made the call, thought that I was openly representing the LGBT community. And even if I was, it's none of their business. But I should never have been stopped. The bus shouldn't have been stopped. The people on the bus should not have had to experience that, nor the bus driver, because we held up the bus. I did not get off. So that was one incident that occurred. In September of 2019, I had a break-in into my apartment. One of my neighbors upstairs, she had her friend to come and break into my apartment. She and I had a verbal disagreement, and she decided that this was something that she wanted to do. This was September 25th of last year. So she broke in, this woman broke in at 3 a.m. I hear her coming through the window. I grab at her leg. She pulls her leg out of the window. I chase her out from by the postal boxes by my apartment, around the corner and under a porch, a neighbor's porch, and I called the cops. They came, but what they told me to do was I needed to leave because this woman was having some tough times, that she was homeless and she was going through some things, and that they knew her. And I said, well, unfortunately, I called you and I just had to break into my home, so I should be getting some assistance. Now, the young lady who was my neighbor, she was sitting watch. She was an accomplice to this. She was sitting watch right outside my window. She was not arrested, and neither was this young lady. They did take her away, but they brought her back to get her vehicle and allowed her to do whatever she wanted. She was heavily intoxicated, I believe, off drugs. But this woman parked down a dark street, climbed a fence and a wall, came back to my building and tried to break in, and I recorded it. And I called the police and I asked them, why did you bring this woman back? I was already shaken. I was already terrified of the fact that somebody has come in my window. Now, I haven't gotten any help in regards to that. I tried to get her name, first and last name, so that I can get an order of protection, so that she can be borrowed from the property. Never got her information. Found out from the police that she was never even charged. They charged her with drug usage, but didn't charge her with the burglary, nor did they charge my neighbor who set this whole thing up, because the young lady didn't know me. She didn't know she could have access to those windows unless someone told her about it. Because where I live, it's a very quiet community. You know, and even DeKalb, I find it to be safe. I've never felt like I've been, felt unsafe here until that day. And since then, I have not gotten any resolve from the break-in. Like I said, this was September of 2019. Now, in my community alone, there is a lot of hate crimes going on. There's a guy there that calls me the N-word. He's even given me a title. I'm Kim the N. And he tells other neighbors, don't talk to me. He's gonna snap my neck, things like this. I've reported these things to the police. I've even asked that he be arrested. Hasn't happened. I've told my landlord, nothing has been done. So there's several things that's taken place that no one is doing anything about in and around my community when it comes to myself. Now, I have had the cops call on me with false accusations. And of course, nothing, like one of my neighbors accused me of owning a gun and putting a gun to her head. I don't own a gun. I've never and then she said I put my fingers to her head. I thank God that I was never arrested on those charges, but the fact that she even let that come out of her mouth to a police officer and in front of a judge, it makes no sense. This person should have been charged. There should have been charges on her, because those are felony charges that could have went on me, and I could be locked up. I could be arrested for those things. So I'm concerned that things are not fair in the community. People that are committing crimes, had I committed those same crimes, I would be locked up as well.
Hi, my name is Chantal Davis, and I just wanted to speak to what many people have already spoken on. I think that it's terrifying that we have a bad officer on our force. There's been a petition circulating over the last 2 weeks to get officers fired. It now has over weeks on the community's force or any other community's police force is a danger to the community, particularly to Black people. This should not be tolerated by our city officials or by the community any longer. This should have been addressed months ago. So I'm asking for a zero tolerance policy for police officers that use excessive force, and for Officer Weiss's position to be terminated from this force and keep him from getting a job on any other force in any other community.
So I would like, hold on, let me fix my mask. I would like to take this opportunity to ask the elected officials, Bill Nichols, we'd like you to come up and kind of speak to about thoughts going forward. I know at the HRC meeting on Tuesday, after you said you didn't hear enough from the community, there are a lot of members from the community here, and we would just like to hear your thoughts going forward.
Can everybody hear me? Good evening, everybody. So what I told Vivian that night was not that I thought I hadn't heard enough, but we knew there was a meeting tonight, and then there'll also be a town hall meeting before the council meeting on Monday. And I thought it was good to get as many possible voices heard, so that our elected officials, I'm an appointed official, but the elected officials. Can you hear?
That's better.
Okay, sorry. What I'm very pleased about is that there's a turnout tonight of people who want to be heard. And this is an opportunity that was still in front of us on Tuesday night. And then there's another opportunity for people to show up, and mostly to virtually show up for the council workshop committee of the whole meeting at 5 o'clock on Monday, the 22nd. So we'll be listening some more. And then I think the council will take all of this together and begin to act. As Ernell said, it's time to act. I've said that, and I've said that for 3 or 4 weeks, and our council feels the same way. But first we had to listen, and we wanted to know what was within the authority and the abilities of the city of DeKalb to act on. Some things are statewide, but most of the things that I heard tonight are within the city's purview. So I want to say this. This is from my heart.
Oh, bullshit.
I'm going to guess that I speak for the council on this, and there are several council members here and can correct me if I'm wrong. I think what we have is an extraordinary moment, and we have for almost a month now. You couldn't possibly have scripted this opportunity, and it unfortunately comes on the wake of the death of somebody who was brutally, that's right, George Floyd, brutally treated. Nobody in the police department, and we have our police chief here, Bob Riddell, acting chief, that I know is in favor of police brutality. And some of you may not believe that. So we understand we have to prove ourselves. And we want to do it in a climate where, I guess what I'm asking is that we all sort of, we're going to start where we want to finish. We're trying to build a community that's based on tolerance, that's based on inclusiveness, that's based on civility and mutual respect. Tonight the format was one of demands on. So let's see what we can do and help us do that. We want to be partners in this process. We are not antagonists. I don't know of anybody serving on the council who is an antagonist at this point. So in my words and in the words of some of the people who have spoken tonight, I want to say, let's do this together. Let's not wait.
Yes, let's not wait.
Let's take action. We have one more round, and we could have many more rounds, and there will be many more rounds, but I think then we start to talk about what we want to do, what's within our authority.
No more
as a
talking.
city to do that. I'm sorry I didn't hear that.
No more talking.
I didn't hear it, I'm sorry.
No more talking. Do it.
Well, and
You commit to firing off the police. You commit to doing that?
no, I don't think this is this is the format tonight to do a Q&A, and I just wanted to say from my heart that I feel we are in need of pulling together. That's all. Mayor, do you want to say anything?
Who in the fuck is talking to him?
Hi, I'm Jerry Smith.
I'm your mayor. I'm the mayor of the city of DeKalb, and I want to be the mayor of all people.
What?
Young, old, black, white, red, green, blue, red, whatever.
Avatars? Okay.
Unfortunately, I can say very little on the concerns tonight. The reason being is that if I did that, I would be violating the Illinois Open Meetings Act. I have two of our aldermen right here, Mike Verbig from our 6th Ward, Carolyn Morris from our 1st Ward. And let me just do something from the heart, if I might. And this will take maybe 2 or 3 minutes, but you always have a problem when you hand the mayor a microphone. I came to Northern in 1961, 59 years ago, as a student from Dixon, Illinois. And when I went to school in Dixon, Illinois, I was a poor kid. My mother was working at a shoe factory, and along with her mother, my grandma, raised 2 sons. We were living on the wrong side of the tracks. And in the wrong side of the tracks, there were whites, there were African Americans, there were Asians. I never saw them as black or white. I saw them as friends. But when I came to school here in 1961, Mr. McDavid mentioned we have a dream on a hill. Let me tell you about the hill. Townhall. What we were protesting, this was in 1961 or 62, we were protesting the fact that a few African Americans who were settling or trying to settle in the city of DeKalb, they could not get their hair cut because the barber shop said they didn't know how to cut black hair. And we had a protest, and that continued on. I've lived in this community for 59 years. I have a biracial marriage. My wife is Asian. We've been happily married for 46 years now. It hurts. Is Jessica Lyons here? Jessica? Maybe not. This was a lady who was quoted, and I know Jessica. Where is Jessica? Come on down, Jessica, could you? What's that? Okay, I can't hear her, but anyway, Jessica.
Oh my God!
What's that? Oh, okay, but my issue is this. I was asked to resign, at least in the newspaper, because of a word that I used, because of what someone said was a generational gaffe on the word thug. And, you know, I know Jessica Lyons because I've read about the lady. She was on the DeKalb school board, and she more than anyone should know, that when you're sitting on a school board or a city council or whatever, the decisions that we make are not easy. Vivian, thank you for starting this movement. Thank you for that wonderful opening event. Thank you very much. Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, I am going to finish off with, I'm going to read off a list of demands that people in the community we have gotten together to write, and then I'm just going to finish off with a closing statement. Okay. So, excessive force in prosecution. 1. Any officer who uses or has a past history of using excessive force needs to be indicted and fired without severance pay. Any officer who does not intervene and de-escalate police use of excessive force must be indicted and fired without severance pay.
Yeah.
Press charges against and fire Officer Weiss for his use of an illegal chokehold without severance pay. prosecute officers privately under a state's attorney subcontract to prevent people who work with the police from prosecuting police. Police accountability.
Comment from a Facebook group. Can you at least give us credit for us writing that? Those are our demands.
Yeah, you asked us to read them. That's what we're doing.
Yeah.
Word for word, but I wrote it.
She said she's reading them like from a group.
They're from everyone.
She wrote them.
Yeah, I said this was written by the community.
Oh.
Police accountability. Mandatory public reports for any time an officer unholsters a weapon, lethal or less lethal, as well as any use of force, which includes justification of the action. Mandatory public reports for any case that requires or received medical treatment as a result of an arrest, unless the arrested individual requests that information remains private. Publicly display officers' records and information about complaints filed against officers. All officers in DeKalb must have full to obstruct the camera. Require police to present a clear and understood warning before firing any weapon. De-escalation programs. Adopt a community-led public safety model. Police respond to non-violent mental health, drug, and domestic cases should only be considered as a last resort. Current and future police officers must complete crisis interventionist training and de-escalation training. Establish a force continuum of officers to abide by. Require police or any other party aiding in de-escalation to exhaust all other alternatives of de-escalation, starting from least to most invasive, before firing any weapon. Plans for community growth. Cut the police budget by 50% and divert those funds to social service-oriented programming, roles, and community development. Invest in de-escalation training for local social workers. Build more affordable, safe housing. Demolish 912 Edgebrook Drive and build affordable, safe housing. Rebuild 808 Ridge Drive to provide more housing options. Complete thorough health and safety investigations of all DeKalb County apartment complexes quarterly. Provide more community services. The old movie theater near Hillcrest Drive needs to be a grocery store or used to provide a public social service. The old Pizza Hut lot needs to be used for either affordable housing or a public community center. Build more parks in the North Annie Glidden Road and Hillcrest Drive areas. Establish and enforce rent control. Remove the police from schools. And that is our list of demands right now.
Okay, I'm about to say something because no, I'm about to speak. Y'all may be uncomfortable leaders, but we've been uncomfortable for the longest time. I'd let you finish because I don't speak over black women. But you could hear me. You know you can hear me. Because they can hear me, I ain't even got a mic on. You heard what I said. Everything that you're saying just sounds like empty promises. You need to actually say, I hear you, this is what we're gonna do. You can't just tell us stories about what your life was like before this, because we're talking about what's going on now. These are people's livelihoods. People are dying right now. And you know I respect and love you, Vivian, so I'm not trying to take over, which is why I let you finish. And I appreciate you coming forward to listen to demands. But this right now, you can hear people in the crowd saying, this ain't right. What y'all even see, everything that y'all said was empty. Everything. And we can feel it. You got people in the crowd, everywhere. We are your community. You need to design. You feel pressure right now. You feel uncomfortable, and I'm sorry. But this is something that has to make you uncomfortable. Because change does not come from being comfortable. It hasn't ever, and it never will. MLK taught us that. Everyone before us that came before us taught us that. So I need you to listen and actually say, you know what, you're right. We can do better. We can, because you can. And that's all. That's what you say. I don't need anything to
Okay, thank you, Trinity. Yeah, I'm just gonna close up with some, I guess, closing comments. So I guess I haven't really said much of my story with Vivian. I'm from Homewood, Foster, Illinois, south suburbs. And when I was going into high school, I went to Iowa. And let me tell you, I have been called nigger more times than I can count. I have been called whitewashed Iowa trash. You know, it is what it's life. It's fucking life. And I'm sorry I'm going to say that. And it sucks. And I'm sorry. We don't really want to hear white voices and stories about their lives right now because it's not about you. It's about us. It's about Black lives. That's why it's called Black Lives Matter. I'm also going to point out that saying, you know, I don't care what color you are, black, blue, green, whatever, that's not appropriate also because there are people that find offense and it's 2020. This is my life. I'm doing this. I'm fighting for myself. I'm fighting for my niece. I'm fighting for so many of you all out there, and it shouldn't be a fight. So, I have one question for all of you today. What are you going to do? There was no action made out of the HRC meeting, and now standing here tonight, there should be action made. We can sit here until 11:30 p.m. That's fine, but action needs to come. It needs to come with change. For a lack of a better term, we are tired of fighting you all. We are tired of yelling and screaming and you not listening to us because you're not making change. If you're sitting here tonight and you still really don't get it, then educate yourself. There are books, there is Google. It is no longer my job to educate you. It's not. We have an incredible opportunity right here in DeKalb. We can lead by example for everywhere else in this country and the rest of the world. Together as a community, we can do this. So I will ask you once more, what are you going to do now? Thank you.